This video was developed to provide information on federal and state standards for the handling of juveniles picked up by law enforcement.
The handling of youth by law enforcement and correctional officers was a source of high liability for local government in the 1980s. With the cooperative efforts of state and county officials, much has been accomplished since that time to create a fair, consistent, and effective juvenile justice system. North Dakota's participation in the Federal Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act helped to shape the way juveniles are handled and processed. The JJDP Act lays out 4 core provisions for the handling of youth. Those who are classified as status offenders or non-offenders cannot be held in secure facilities. Youth should not be held in adult facilities. Those youth who are brought into an adult facility for processing must be kept sight and sound separate from adult offenders. And states need to address the disproportionate contact of minority youth with the juvenile justice system. In addition, the North Dakota Uniform Juvenile Court Act is quite clear. Law enforcement and correctional officers must preserve a juvenile's constitutional right to supervision in a humane and least restrictive setting. North Dakota's participation in the JJDP Act led to the creation of a reimbursement program for local government called Attendant Care. Attendant Care provides local government with funding for non-secure supervision of youth picked up by law enforcement. It is designed to provide that supervision when a parent or responsible adult is not immediately available.
Attendant care sites are available throughout the state. County sheriffs or private agencies working on their behalf operate these sites. Most of these non-secure supervision sites are in urban areas, but some rural sites are available. YouthWorks operates attendant care sites in Burleigh and Cass counties.
Youth ages 7 to 17 who have been charged with an unruly offense such as minor in possession, ungovernable behavior, or running away should be brought to an attendant care site rather than a secure juvenile detention facility. Our attendant care sites are non-secure, which means we keep the door unlocked, but the constant supervision by an adult reduces the likelihood of a youth leaving. When a juvenile first arrives, we do a thorough intake, which involves a drug and alcohol screening, as well as a mental health screening. Usually within 24 hours or less, the youth is released to a parent or other responsible adult at the direction of the juvenile court. At times, the youth may await a court hearing.
Using attendant care can also benefit law enforcement in a number of ways.
Attendant care allows our officers to get back on the street in those cases where parents cannot be located, and the non-secure setting can have an impact on the youth's behavior. For those youth who are not dangerous to themselves or the community, the use of a non-jail-like setting can have a calming effect. Juveniles are generally easier to handle in this setting and less likely to attempt to harm themselves. A full police report on the incident does still need to be provided to the juvenile court.
Many people believe that pre-trial or pre-adjudication supervision is a punishment, but that is a common misconception. Karen Kringley is the Juvenile Court Director for the Southeast and East Central Court Districts.
Federal and state laws, as well as the Constitution, are quite clear. Anyone, and especially youth, can be detained only for their own protection or the necessary protection of the community and to ensure future court appearances. We must treat offending juveniles, especially juveniles with status offenses, in the least restrictive way possible.
Putting low-risk offenders in secure facilities can have inadvertent negative outcomes. Studies show that a prior detention stay is a greater predictor of recidivism than carrying a weapon or belonging to a gang. Grouping low-level offenders with more sophisticated delinquent youth in detention facilities can actually increase antisocial behavior and their affiliation with antisocial peers. Detained youth are more likely to be referred to court, see their cases progress through the system to adjudication and disposition, have a formal disposition filed against them, and receive a more serious disposition. Many young people, in fact, engage in delinquent behavior but will naturally grow out of it. And detention can slow down this natural process by disrupting their engagement with families, schools, and work. Young people with behavioral health problems get worse in detention because it can lead to depression and thoughts of suicide. A detention decision matrix is a reference tool for the proper handling of juveniles.
When law enforcement picks up a non-offender, a youth that is deprived or neglected, The preferred option of supervision is shelter care. For status offenders, those cited with runaway or minor in possession, the best option is attendant care. However, the law does allow them to be placed in juvenile detention for up to 24 hours if non-secure supervision site is not available. Adult jail is prohibited for status offenders. For delinquent offenses, things like theft, vandalism, or assault, there can be some gray area. If a youth can safely be held non-securely, the best option is attendant care. If there is a safety issue, then the preferred option is juvenile detention. Adult jail is allowed for delinquent offenders for up to 24 hours in rural areas where no other options are available. But the youth must be sight and sound separated from adult offenders.
For more information about attendant care, contact the North Dakota Association of Counties at 701-328-7300.